everybody. Welcome to our budget session for April 15th, 2021. I am Mayor Bianca Motley Broom of the great city of College Park. It is 6:31 p.m. We have a quorum with council members Allen, Clay, and Taylor present, and we are going to get things kicked off with our inspections department being the first department that we're going to discuss tonight. Ms. Miller, anything you want to add before we begin?
All I want to say is thank you, Mayor and Council, for your continued stewardship of our community. Please join me in express my thanks to the outstanding people of our city government, from the frontline staff to the department heads, who labor every day collectively working 24/7, 365 to keep College Park functioning and thriving. So thank you all.
I'm not sure that anybody else could say it better. Can we just, is that it? Are we done? Because I mean, that pretty much says it all in a nutshell. And we're asking a lot of folks to do the same or more with less, both this fiscal year and looks like next fiscal year as well. And so we absolutely appreciate all the efforts of all of the people who choose to have their careers here in College Park. So without further ado, inspections. Who's going to be, is Mr. Hudson on the line?
Yes.
Oh,
I'm
there.
here.
Oh, but you're
Where's that mask man?
You're masquerading as Sabrina Walters, and so I was looking I was looking at names and not people.
Yeah, we're sharing the monitor today.
Gotcha. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
All right. So the inspections budget starts on digital page 5, and we will start there as well. Any questions for Mr. Hudson?
Yes, Mayor. I have a question on line 52, 57, 30.
Okay.
And that R&M DP equipment is for the SAGE's digital plan review. And I had follow-up questions then on packet page or digital page. Let's see, what is that? 8.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 2 line items there. And we talk about the SAGE's networks on page 8. What departments are included in all? It says SAGE's network online software. All departments will share cost. So how many departments are sharing that cost, Oscar?
We have fire department, code enforcement, inspections, engineering, and
business
license.
Okay, so it sounded like about half a dozen.
Yes.
And that is going, how do you review plans now? Do you just send them paper-wise across the departments?
Yes, sir. They submit the plans according to what they want to build. We bring them in and we disperse those plans to each department.
Okay. So this is the first time we haven't approved this as this point, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So this will be coming before Mayor and Council, but it sounds like with all the work that we're going to be doing, all the renovation that's going on, all the new building that's going on, if you can't do it digitally, you're going to be in a world of hurt.
Yeah, let me just tap in on that. I just don't see, with 3 people there, we got a lot of work coming up. I mean, just in my ward, we got West Fayetteville Road, and we got the Diamond, and a lot going on in Princeton Village. And that's a lot of inspections.
And I also think in terms of just it is 2021. We've got to be efficient for our front-facing customers, our internal customers as well, because I think this will improve cooperation between departments and lead to fewer things falling through the cracks or lack of communication, because they're all going to be tied into one system.
And you have instant communication. You should be able to mark them up electronically, I assume. Look what we were able to do with, now that we're getting electronic copies of the budget and the meeting packet. I think pretty much everybody's getting that. Makes life a lot easier.
It does, but let's make sure we have the people there to do it as well. I think of all the work and I think of 3 people and I'm thinking how in the world they're going to do that. Even, they're going to be learning the new system. Just keep an eye on it.
To that point, Councilman Allen, to Councilman Allen's point, do we have a plan for implementation and training, and is that included in that cost?
The training is included in the cost.
Great. Any other questions?
That's going to take time out from them doing inspections and reviewing and so forth. But I had the same question that Councilman Clay had. I had that circled. I had another one. You said training. You said 10 board members and 1 staff member. This was under training.
This is line 52, 6200.
52, 6200, yes. And I just didn't know who the 10 board members were, what you're talking about.
Those are my Board of Zoning Appeal and Planning Commission members.
All those members, okay. Okay.
Any questions? Any other? Okay.
I had some more later on in the line item detail.
Okay.
On that same page where we talked about the SAGES software, if you go down near the bottom, contractual services, line 526170, apartment inspection rental ordinance. Now I know what that is, but I thought the apartments were paying for the inspections. So why do we have 80,000 charge in there?
What happens, Councilman Clay, is that they are paying for those, but we have to pay the apartment contractor.
So that's an expense. That's the expense item. And then you have a matching revenue item for them paying us.
Yes, sir. In fact, we make we will make $10 off of each inspection.
Okay, so we can make a little profit. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Okay, I'm good on that. And the other one I had was on digital page 6, line 526060 demolition. You only have 15,000 in there for demolition. Are you sure that's going to be enough?
What Mercedes did, she took some money and put it into BIDA's demolition fund for those properties for the city that needs to be demolished. And she left me with 15,000 for private demolition if we come across a home or 2 that may need to be demolished by code enforcement.
Demolition, it's about 5,000 to 7,000 a home, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that would maybe buy us 2 homes, possibly
2
3.
homes.
Okay. All right. Well, somehow I know there's a lot of renovation going on, so hopefully people are coming in and buying up these homes and demolishing them for us.
Yes, sir.
All right, that's all I had, Mayor.
All right. Under contractual services, line 526170, it is digital page 6. It looks like we really haven't spent that much. I mean, we had 92,000 allocated. We spent 11% of that. Can you
Yes.
flesh that out a little bit?
Yes, ma'am. That's because of COVID.
Okay.
And the last year, whereas people were scared about going into homes or apartment complexes, I'm sorry, the contracts went down The inspections went down on that part because of COVID. And they're picking back up now. We are telling everyone that those inspections have to resume now.
Understood. This is a fairly minor thing, but line 527320 is on digital page 6.
Yes,
You got zeroed out on stationery and printing.
yes, students.
Is that realistic?
No. I was,
We were asked to get it out of this year's budget. So that would be enough to carry us through next year's budget. So, I mean, we can do it.
we will try to accommodate. We will try to get everything out of this budget for next year's budget.
Okay.
And we're gonna try to do more things electronic.
I fully support doing more things electronically. I don't know that we're at the point where everything's going to happen electronically. I mean, I did.
Well, we have some things where we have to print signs, for example, to put up. Is that in that printing budget or a different portion of the budget?
No, that's on a different portion of the budget.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I mean, I just want us to be as realistic as possible. That's all.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know it's a small expense, but I mean, if you're going to spend money on it, let's know now.
Well, I would love to have it back.
Well, it looks like you've.
What will you print with it? What do you typically do with that?
That is our stationery to wear letterhead paper, envelopes. That she has to send out for the 3 boards every time we have a hearing. We have to send those notices out by envelopes to the homeowners around.
Oh, I just got one today.
5,000 feet.
Okay, well, you've got in there for postage, you've got $1,600. So if you don't have anything, if you don't have anything to print and mail, you don't have anything to put stamps on.
You're just sending
Right.
air.
So yes, I would like to have that back if we could get it.
Would $500 work?
We'll make it work.
Is the council amenable to?
Oh, yeah, we can even take it out of postage.
That's my idea.
Well, I mean, postage gets more expensive by the day. I feel like.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. Just kidding.
500 is fine. That gives them a little and
I mean, like I said, I just got a letter today about a demolition. So obviously some money was spent on that, and we're going to continue to incur costs on that. So I think that's just practical. Any other questions?
No.
thank you, Oscar, for all the stuff you do.
All
Your
right.
team.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for the support.
All right. We're moving on to economic development. That budget worksheet starts on digital page 22. And Mr. Jones is here. Good evening.
Hey, good evening. Can everyone see me?
We can see you, we can hear you. Things are good. Questions for Mr. Jones?
I have one on that page, 526230 line item,
Mhm.
conventions and meetings. Don't you think you might be going to something in the next year?
I
A
do.
big question by that as well.
Me too.
Yeah, I would like to. My staff really need it. Over this past year, we virtually have not gone anywhere. We've taken some, like I said, we haven't traveled anywhere. As far as conventions and meetings, most of the stuff we've done has been virtual. But of course, with COVID, people getting vaccinations, I know they'll probably have some in-person things, but I'm quite sure they'll probably have the alternative for those that still don't feel safe about traveling, to do things virtually. Like I said, we tried to have as lean of a budget as possible. So that's the reason that we have really held off to have any training dollars, or I said travel dollars. in our budget, but I would be
Well-
happy to have some.
Well, Artie, even if you just attend a conference by Zoom, you're going to end up having some charge. I mean, I've attended one or two things and they were small. They were like maybe $300 or $400, which was great, but you ought to have something in there. And I think you may want to go in your business. I would think that you really need to do some sidebars at conferences and so forth.
Yes, like I said, we've, not only did we do sidebars as far as being able to, I guess, network and learn new stuff, but also we made presentations on best practices of some of the things that we've done here in College Park that they try to duplicate, around the state and around the country. So I do see your point as far as having some funding available.
Well, what about you had 5,000 in there in the amended budget last time? I would think you would want to at least put 5,000 in.
I have no objections to that. I would love to have some traveling dollars there for conventions and meetings.
What does the body think about 5,000?
I'm good with that.
Councilman Gay? Okay, you're muted.
No problem.
All right. Okay. All right. So there is, I'm losing the word. I'm missing the word. Consensus. Thanks. Oh boy. There's consensus on that line item. Other additional questions for Mr. Jones?
I just look at the 40,000 that I'm looking at 52, 55, 30, and
I had that one highlighted as well.
You requested 40,000, and of course it was went to zero. We didn't have any before. What was the 40,000 going to be for? And do we need to look at any of that? It's not down any further because you don't have any numbers in there. So,
I mean, initially we had some, I'm sorry. Initially,
municipal planning. That's I'm just.
Yeah, initially we had some aspiring goals prior to COVID, and being able to everything from working within 6 West to working outside of it. The municipal planning, there was a number of items that we wanted to try to accomplish. Off the top of my head, I can't think of what those items are right now because it's been so long since we've even, considered it. As we went, go ahead, Tasha.
Sorry, Councilman Allen, for the municipal planning, there actually was 40,000 placed for the Old National LCI study. We placed 40,000 because we wanted to actually partner with City of South Fulton, but we were unsure if they would be able to do the 20,000 match. So we requested the 40,000 in case we weren't able to get the match from them.
Okay.
It was a cash match for a grant, so it may or may not have been spent. It was a matter of winning the grant first. And
correct.
We wanted to work with the City of South Fulton, but if they did not apply for the grant, then we would have to provide the full match for the grants. And because of that, we did not move forward.
Okay. That's all I got.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Jones? All right. Going once, going twice. We're moving on to the Main Street budget. Also, Mr. Jones. Any questions for him here?
I had one on digital page 39.
Okay.
Telephone 525240. It went from actual in 2020 3522 to 4500. And we had actual amount this year was 2,200. And we're 3/4 of the way through the year. So why the big jump in telephone?
I believe the number was actually provided for us by the IT department.
Okay.
Renee, can you respond on that, please?
I have no clarification on that. I don't do the numbers for the telephone portion. So I'm guessing that comes from the IT department.
Well, let me
I
ask
think
a
that's the
different-
across the board.
Yeah, it's been up, but let me
Mhm.
ask a different question. Did you change your telephone service this year?
No, sir, I did not.
So you haven't acquired an additional cell phone or a hotspot to supplement the Wi-Fi in the depot or anything like that?
No, sir. Nothing was
Okay.
changed.
Okay. Then we'll just write it off as part of the mysterious increase across the board, not just you guys.
Yes,
Yeah, it's mm.
all departments, yeah.
Right.
Renee, are you using the Verizon data plan more during, were you using it more during COVID? The MiFi?
No, because when I was working remotely, I was using my laptop, but I was using my home Wi-Fi. So no, I didn't even bring the MiFi at home during working during COVID time. So it's always in the depot.
Yeah, and I believe that's a flat rate for our MiFi that we do have. It's not a, it doesn't matter how much you use it. It's a set price.
Sometimes it does. If you go over what our limit is, it will increase. Okay, just I'm wondering, because this is the breakdown here on the screen. The AT&T Club, Comcast, Verizon Data Plan, the Verizon Wireless, and Windstream.
Does anybody know what AT&T Club is on there? That Verizon Data Plan, Verizon Wireless, Windstream, those are things that I know what they are, and I've seen it before. I just haven't asked the question.
That is an
I will find out momentarily.
Yes.
All right. I have a question on digital page 39, lines 52, 52, 60, 70, and 80. How is it we haven't spent anything on heat and power, water, and other communication / utilities this year?
Renee works from home full time.
Well, okay then.
If only.
It was pretty cold in the depot, huh?
I don't put those numbers in, so I can't answer those questions. I'm sorry.
I just thought you got an extra sweater.
No, I need one. It gets chilly in the depot.
It does get chilly in the depot. You're right.
She works by candlelight.
Ms. Flord Bradley, can you shed any light on that?
No, the system auto generates these reports. I would have to look at the detail. So I will get back with you on that. The system, because what happens every month is the system pulls in the numbers. So unless an account number is changed but there's even though Renee works from home,
there's still expenses. Yeah.
Yeah, there has to be something. So I'll get with on my side to figure out why that is.
All right. Let's see here. What's for 526170? That is contractual services. The bottom of digital page 39, and then the detail is on digital page 41. That's a fairly steep increase on that. Which of these
facade grants in that, Mayor?
Does that account for the increase?
I can kind of speak towards that. The new landscaping contract, that is the cost of the new contract that was just approved by mayor and council. So that was included in there, but the I wouldn't say that that's not the cause of the increase, because initially we had $50,000 for the facade grant program, but all that was stripped away. As you can see, there's only 10,000 left for that. The other two facade grants that are in there are two grants that were approved by through that program prior to COVID. And so we had already promised those payments to the businesses. And so in order to hold good to those promises, that's why I included them in this budget. And as soon as the new budget year hits, then we can pay those two grants that were awarded, and then those would not be ever again posted to the account.
So is landscaping accounting for the, I mean, because in the 2020 fiscal year, we spent $44,000 on contractual services. We're projected to spend 66. We've only spent 22 this year, and we're not on pace to get to anything near that number. So is it landscaping that's the bulk of the increase? Is that
I would
that wasn't
say
included
yes.
before? Okay.
The contract.
All right.
You moved all the contract over there? Does anybody else get part of that, or does Main Street get it all?
All of everything that's for Main Street is included in the Main Street budget. Don't know how it ever got there, but the landscaping contract as well as the tree trimming portions, because it is a hefty amount to have those trees trimmed every year or every other year when we do it. So.
But isn't that landscaping contract part of the large contract with GICC?
Yes.
It is.
Yes, sir.
So this is just your portion of it.
Correct.
And that's with all the adjustments that we did also. They're not cutting as frequent. We've kind of held off on a lot of the flowers and the plants that they would do throughout the year. We had to cut those things out to get it down to the amount that our old contract was with the old vendor.
Or close to it.
Yeah, close to it.
So we're not going to have flowers on Main Street this year?
We are going to have flowers, but maybe not as many flowers as it was in the past, but they will be planting within the next couple of weeks. I just got an email yesterday saying that they will be out soon, refreshing.
Well, let me ask a dumb question. There's a tremendous amount of enthusiasm right now for what you guys, the board and you have been doing on Main Street. We've got some really great gardeners in Ward 1. What about some volunteer landscaping? What about some volunteer planting of flowers if we would like to supplement some of that? I just throw that out.
If we could supplement some of that, maybe that's money that you could use somewhere else.
Well, the contract is already, Mayor and council approved that back when we updated the landscaping contract for the GICC Main Street and the retention ponds, I believe it was. So in that contract, it includes the planting of flowers. I mean,
right. And I wasn't implying that we should take the money out. What I was implying was that
moving forward,
you said it was going to be scaled down a bit. And I'll bet you there are some people out there, I won't name any names, they're probably watching tonight or will be watching this recording.
Or might be related to people on the call.
Very well. Very well. So that's what I was thinking.
Well, we got the contract, they could just add to it.
Exactly. That's
right. I mean, we could supplement, I'm sure there are folks who would not only be willing to contribute sweat equity, but would also be willing to contribute a few trays of flowers. I am not a flower person, so I don't know peony from a whatever. But I'm sure that there could be some enthusiasm for that.
Well, there's certainly been that in the past. And several years ago when we're trying to spruce up Main Street. So I'll bet you that people who are listening in on this call right now would maybe give you a call, Renee, and offer to help.
Thank you.
If I may, Mayor and Council, Renee, do you have a security line inside of the depot?
Security, yes, and it's on under contractual services. It says System 5 is the alarm company.
Okay, because Mr. Hicks said that that is what the AT&T Club is for, and we'll
Okay.
check into that.
Okay.
Okay.
A lot of money.
Well, I mean, there's System 5, it's only line itemed itself for 205.50, which seems a little low for an entire year.
That's
maybe-
the annual contract. So it's the their annual contract is the 205.50.
But in order to make it work, you
In
got to have the
order to-
AT&T Club.
Yeah,
Okay.
the 205 may be the monitoring of it, and the
Yeah.
actual transmission is AT&T Club.
All right. Any other questions for Main Street? Hearing none. Thank you, Ms. Coakley.
Thank you all.
We'll
Thank you.
move
Thank
on
you, Dana.
to the Business and Industrial Development Authority. Mr. Jones, it's still your show.
Okay.
Any questions for Mr. Jones?
No, just a lot of transfers and things that we've pretty much been through before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've all right. Hearing no questions for Mr. Jones. Have a great evening.
All right, thank you.
We're moving on to Fire Administration, and that is the incomparable Chief Wade Elmore. Good evening, Chief. How are you? I know you're excited to be here, but we can't hear what you're saying because you're muted.
Yes, I'm very excited to be here. How are you all doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Awesome. Yes.
All right. So questions for Chief Elmore. This starts on digital page 63 for Fire Administration. Any questions?
I don't have anything on administration.
Okay.
Ma'am, if you don't mind me asking, I have a few that you look at line 3500, 51, 51, 80, which is uniforms.
51, I'm sorry, 51, 51, 80. Okay, that's on digital page 63, and that has been zeroed out.
Yes, and I would like to request or ask for the $3,000 be placed back in there.
Chief, is there any reason that the 238, I mean, you've only spent 238.90?
If I'm not mistaken, I think those we received those invoices later in the year.
Okay.
And they probably hadn't been paid yet.
Any?
Are these like dress uniforms,
These
Chief?
are the uniforms myself, fire marshal wears. Yes. And,
For ceremonies and things like that?
yes, well, that's our dress uniforms. That's our daily operational uniforms. Yes.
I don't have a problem with that.
Anyone have a problem with that?
I don't have a problem with adding it back. Maybe not the full amount, but
Say
What's,
half.
what's the will of the body?
I'm good with it.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. So are we saying 3,000 or 1,500?
3,000.
Okay. Everybody good with 3,000?
yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. And I have in administration, I have about 4 lines that I would like to just talk about.
Okay.
And the next line item would be 525740. That's building and repairs. And that is for our fire stations 2 and 3. And I know we are having some issues with the washers and dryers over there. And I know the dryers, we have to dry the heavy turnout gear in there. And I know we're having issues with it. And so we either gonna have to have it repaired and or either purchase another. But I was asking to put at least $5,000 back in there, because right now I think in that line we only have $5,000 to cover both stations. And I don't think that's enough, because even when our overhead doors, when the motors go out, and each time overhead door comes out and check the doors, it's about anywhere from $2,000 or so when they come out. So we will go through that rather quickly.
Well, Chief, you started off talking about dryers. If I remember rightly, we just bought this is for drying out the hoses, right? And not the hoses, for the fire gear when they come back, right?
Yes, that was a dryer we purchased for here at Station 1. But that line is for fire station number 2 and fire station number 3.
I understand that, but
yes,
but fire station number 3 is brand new.
It's brand new, but it's wearing. As a matter of fact,
so is that dryer in warranty?
I think that dryer's out of warranty over there, and the washing machine.
Just a lot of use over there.
Yeah, it's a lot of use, and especially with COVID. I know they've been using machines to wash their uniforms and wash their gear when they come.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well that makes sense.
Makes sense to me.
Any? Is there consensus to return that to 10,000?
Okay.
Well, if that's what it's going to take, we've got to we've got to keep the equipment in good shape.
Absolutely. We need to make sure that the uniforms are, with COVID still hanging around and all the work they do with it, we need to make sure.
Absolutely.
I noticed that number, the actual amount, while we're on that R&M buildings, the actual amount was 68,000 last year. And I can't remember what we spent.
Was it the roof?
Was that the roof?
No, I think it was 2 of the positions we had that we used their salaries to pay for the roof. Let's see, what was it?
Chief, then that's what it is. That's the current year, 68,000, because we went back before council. So the budget basically has to be moved for that.
Moved it over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It's not moved yet, but that's the budget needs to actually move from salaries to the repair and maintenance buildings. But I believe that 68,000 does represent the roof replacement or repair.
Okay.
Sorry.
I just saw that number jumped out at me. So
That's all right. So there's consensus to move that back to 10,000, and that roof is a expense we will not be incurring on a yearly basis.
Sure hope not.
Yeah. Knock on wood. All right. So Chief, you had another line item?
Yes, there's 52,6,200.
Training,
yes. And we zeroed that out. And I know last year, myself and the fire marshal, who's rather new in this position, we have to get out and get some training. We were short some hours last year, but luckily they waived that because of COVID. But things are kind of picking back up now, and they're coming with the training and conferences. So I would like to at least add $5,000 back to that line.
Well, whoa, wait a minute. We had only 700 in there, or a little under 700 for 2020. Why the big jump?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, we had the $5,000 in there, but I know in March of 20, we had to do some reductions in the budget, and we cut it down then. And I think that was March of 2020.
But I'm talking about.
But that entire fiscal year, only
actual,
$669 were spent.
So are you saying that maybe you had it in there for the latter part of fiscal 2020, and that's the part that got hit by COVID, and
Yes,
so
sir.
you couldn't go on the training?
That's correct.
Yes, that's
Normally the
correct.
conference, the training we have normally happens around August, latter part of during the year.
But that would be the start of the fiscal year.
That'd be the start of the fiscal year, not the end.
Or July, I'm sorry. Yes.
Well, that's still, I mean, July 1st is when our fiscal.
Not July.
You gotta keep moving it back, Chief.
Yes. But I know in that line, that training line, like I say, between the fire marshal and myself, who were in administration, we were short of hours last year. We need to put that amount in there.
Ms.
So
Floyd
how
Bradley,
much you really need to get you and the fire marshal the hours you need this year for this fiscal year?
Can we see how much was spent in fiscal 19?
Yes, ma'am. I will look right now.
Chief, while she's looking at that, do you have another line item that you wanted to bring up?
Well, the other line item I want to bring up, and it's not in my budget.
Ms. Flora Bradley, we can see your Google search. Oh, okay.
I have to log in through New World through my Google.
Sorry, Chief.
No, that's okay. It's not in my budget packet, only because we wanted to reduce the budget as much as we can. But I know in previous years, and when I was hired here as the deputy fire chief or the assistant fire chief. And when I was appointed the fire chief, the deputy fire chief position was eliminated. Also, the fire inspector investigators positions were eliminated. I would like to ask for those two positions back, or reinstate those two positions. With all the building and construction we have going up, we have one fire marshal, he needs an assistant, and that would be the fire inspector investigator to help him out. And again, I will say, as large as our department is, I feel we need to reinstate that assistant fire chief position also.
Do we have any contingency monies anywhere in?
I could see an argument for the inspection, but as tight as we are right now, I don't know about an assistant chief position.
How much would that add to your budget?
We're looking at, for the assistant chief position, the starting salary for that is $73,000. And for the fire inspector, it's $47,000. Fire inspector investigator.
Right on 100,000, yeah.
Like I said, I could understand the inspection thing. In fact, we talked about that when we talked about Oscar's department, possible need for an additional person, but an assistant chief, there are a lot of areas in the city that we could use additional help. And I don't know. I'm not sold on that one, but somebody else may have a different opinion.
What are your thoughts, gentlemen? I'm sorry, Ms. Fuller.
That's about $156,000 when you add in the salary for both positions.
That includes benefits?
Yes, when 156,000 includes salaries and benefits.
It's a lot of money.
Anywhere we can cut any, I don't know if we can cut that much, but.
Can we have a discussion? Can we have a discussion at the midway point of the year?
Are you talking about just the one position or both positions, Mayor?
I'm just talking about having a discussion. I hadn't really fleshed the whole thing out in my head.
How hard would it be to find somebody, and how long would it take you to find somebody for the positions? I mean, are we talking about 6 months away, or are we talking about, only take you 2 months to fill the position, or do you have an idea?
Well, I would say, For both positions, I would say within the next 3 to 4 months.
Chief, when do we expect the inspections to really start hitting? For example, we've got things going on Herschel Road. Does the fire inspector going to go through those buildings as well, do you think?
Yes, he will go over and inspect those. You have 6 West, and he also is doing his annual inspections, what we call the business inspections. But like I said, it's only one person.
Right. No, I can understand that. When do we expect the homes on Herschel Road to start completing that the inspections would start, for example?
Once he reviews the plans, he will get with the contractors and make visits over there.
Yeah, but I'm saying, what's your best guess? Are we
Timing-wise,
talking
yeah.
6 months or a year or 5 months, 3 months?
Once they start going up with the homes, I would say within the next 6 months for sure. Yes,
I'm sure he's spending some time over at Princeton Village.
he is. And if
Well,
you
maybe what we could do is consider the inspection position target to have it, let's say, the first of next year.
Of 22.
So we'd have maybe half a year.
Of it. Yep.
And I don't know. I hear you on the fire chief position. I mean, the assistant chief.
Yes, sir.
I'm thinking the inspecting person now and the assistant chief the first part of the year, that's I guess that's where I'm going, because I think hopefully things will be picking up a little bit better and we'll have a good idea of.
I'm sorry,
I mean,
Councilman Allen. So you said assistant chief now and inspections of the first of the year. Is that what you said?
No, I'm saying inspections now.
And assistant
chief.
evaluation of assistant chief at around the first of the year.
Right, but that's just, that's just my view.
But right now, Chief, aren't you using the fire marshal? Haven't you used him as sitting in for you when you were off?
Well, there's not a consistency because sometimes I'm off. I'll let him do it. Sometimes I'm off. I'll let one of the division chiefs do it. And
Okay.
yeah, so but it's really not a consistent person that's sitting in
Okay.
that position when I'm out.
Okay. Yeah. But you've got some reliable people that you can have sit in for you when you're not there.
Yes.
I'm more worried about inspections than I am about assistant chief. Well, let me ask you.
I was going to ask him too. Go ahead.
If you could have only one, which one would you pick?
Yep. I didn't want to put you on the spot, Chief, but that was my question as well.
I
Very
did.
good question.
Yes. Well, right now, like I said, because of all the construction that's going on and getting ready to happen, I would rather put the inspector investigator in place now, and we can come back, like I said, first of the year and discuss the assistant fire chief.
You really think you need the inspection person now?
Oh, yes. Yes, there's no question. Like I said, before, when we had 2 people in that office or 3 people in that office, we were doing 1,800 inspections per year. And when Brian Steele was there and now, we probably right over 200 a year. So that's how much it has dropped, and we still have to inspect the hotels, the schools, on an annual basis. And I mean, those are just not a one-day inspections. It takes them probably 4 days to approximately a week to inspect those places.
Well, what I would go for then is I'd go for getting the inspector now and talking about the assistant chief at the beginning of next year, not targeting to bring in the assistant chief beginning of next year. That's where I would be, I think.
What does the body think about that proposal?
So I want, Chief, would this inspector be a person already in-house, or this, we gotta do a search for this, so how would that work?
The inspector, we could move one of those, our people up. We have a few people, that we could send to training, but who are already here. We could do that. Now that will take away from our operational personnel in suppression. That'll be one position that they would be down there also. Because already we have 11 vacancies, if I'm not mistaken, in our suppression division.
Oh boy. And then we'd move to 12.
Mm-hmm.
What does the body think?
Are you good with just looking at the assistant chief in January, or reviewing it again and see? I mean, if things were to pick up drastically and we see a big change, we might even look earlier, but I would think January would be probably the.
Yes, we could do that. But as of right now, I would say the inspector investigator would be very important.
I'll support that.
I will too.
Council members Taylor and Gay?
Yeah, I'm with it.
I think we need the inspector very maybe.
Yeah.
Councilman Gay? You good with it? You can give me a thumbs up. That's fine.
Fine by me.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So, all right. Additional inspector. Chief, any other?
Mayor,
yes,
just
ma'am.
to follow up on that last question.
The training issue?
Yeah.
Mhm.
In 2019, we had $2,000 budgeted for training and they used $1,777.
Okay. So in a completely normal year, normal, we'll put the air quotes on normal, looks like you used about 1,700. So can we do that again, or somewhere along those lines?
Well, I know in 19, I think I went to a conference. Brian Steele was getting ready to retire, so he stopped going. And but like I said, we have a rather new or fresh fire marshal in office, and I would like to at least get him to a conference or some training.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I think 5,000 is a little high, even if you have another person at it.
How about 3,000?
I looked at a conference that I would be attending, the International Fire Chiefs Conference, and with travel, hotel, and all, I think it's about $1,700 just for that, and it's being held in Charlotte this year, and I think it's in July.
So 4,000 maybe?
4,000, yes.
Okay. I'm good with 4,000.
Council members Gay and Taylor?
Good with it. If that's enough, training is training. We talk about the fire department, so we definitely got to pay whatever it takes, to keep these guys safe and certified. So 4,000 is a number, because I don't know where we're getting the number from. You know what I mean? If the chief feel like 4,000 is enough to make it work for him and his staff for his safety and keeping the certification they need, then that's the number.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
And if we get an assistant chief, say in January, if that were to come about, we might need to adjust that as well.
All right, everybody good with 4,000?
Okay, with it.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else, Chief?
That's it in administration.
Okay. Any other questions in administration?
Nope.
I have a comment.
In fire administration?
Yes, well, about before we move forward, it's just a comment. During all of my budget sessions, when we get to fire, there's always ask for more monies. In one year there were trucks, and I'm not minimizing the seriousness of keeping fire personnel safe, but my question is, why do we always get these upgrades, and why aren't these things considered by our city managers? I mean, it's always, I notice in fire, we always get these upgrades, chief, when you present, and I'll just would think that whoever you talk to when y'all do y'all budget review, that there should be a buy-in as well. That's just my comment.
All right. Anybody have any response or anything? All right, moving on to fire suppression.
I had a big circle on the training, and I mean, training is at 0, and do you need some money there? I mean, that just
We do. That would help.
I have a big circle around that.
That would help us either bring some people in, or I do have a few officers who would like to go out and get some training. Now, we do go down to Foresight at the state training facility, and they offer a lot of classes down there. But sometimes we also have to go outside of the state to get some training.
I mean, I'm just looking at the numbers for 2020 and 2021. 21's course is down. Sure, we kept that low, but was that something you were going to ask for, or is that just me thinking?
Well, I was going to ask at least $4,000, because in fire suppression we have, I think it's 67 people that's in fire suppression, and we have a number of officers, so we do need about $4,000 to $4,500 in there for that training.
Proposal for an addition, 4,000, 4,500. What is the will of the body?
I think we need some. I don't know what the number should be, but I think we definitely need some money in training.
Councilman Gay, I saw that you unmuted. Did you have something?
No. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
What goes through my mind is, instead of just adding, are there some areas in the budget that could be cut? For example, gas and oil. 2020 actual was $30,000, and we're in for 40. Maybe we should cut that back to 30,000, and that helps pay for some of the things we are already adding.
Good point.
I'm just saying, don't make the assumption that everything else in that budget doesn't have some give to it that could be reduced, rather than just adding to the total of the budget.
I agree. Are there some other areas where we could do a little cutting?
All right.
I'm sort of following up on Councilman Gay's comment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, do you want to look at those two at the same time then? 52, 6,200.
Well, yeah, I just scanned this, and that's one that I picked out that was a significant amount, that in one fell swoop, if that were cut by $10,000, you'd have what you wanted. And in 2020, I would think we were using at least in the second half, a fair amount of oil and gas, because I would think we were having a lot of medical emergency runs for
Right.
COVID. So I wouldn't think that that would be unusually low year. I would think that would be maybe even a higher year.
Ms. Floyd Bradley, can you give us a little insight on fiscal 19 for gas and oil?
That's an allocation that's done quarterly. So what will happen, that will go up. So I wouldn't touch that one there, the gas and oil piece of it.
Well, you know,
I don't know if it's going to hit 30,000, but I probably have about 9,000 more to add to that.
Well,
allocation.
you know, we've got fewer police cars on the street, right? We've heard that already. That's nothing new. We should be making fewer COVID emergency runs. So unless the thing that's driving up gas and oil, and I'm just picking this as one example, my comment was in general, are there things that could be trimmed elsewhere in the budget rather than just adding to the fire budget? I'm talking about other items in the fire budget that could be trimmed. So if we're addressing that, unless it's the cost of gasoline that's going up, that's driving it, I would argue that we probably will be running fewer miles, let's say fewer vehicle miles in the next fiscal year than we have been in the previous one. I just throw that out.
What does the rest of the body think?
In 2019, the cost was $46,123.95.
46.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, 46,000.
The gasoline prices go down, maybe. I don't know. Okay.
Well, they were pretty low in the midst of the pandemic because of.
Yeah, they were lower.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that offset it.
Because they're probably about what, 25% higher now. I mean, because they were down below $2. I mean, just regular old gas was probably. I mean, at points it was below $2 a gallon, and now it's right around $2.50, $2.60, something like that. I think I saw $2.70 on Main Street.
No, I drive a Prius. I don't fill it up very often.
I know. Some of us have yet to get on the bandwagon.
Well, R&M, I'm looking at vehicle repair costs, $5,700, and we got $72,000 there. Is that a good figure there?
You're asking me, Councilman Allen?
Yes, I just, I don't know how much repairs you expect this year, and I don't know if we put any off from last year, but.
Well, I know even though we send out trucks to Moody's cannot fix our trucks. They don't have the equipment to repair our trucks. So we have to outsource a lot of our vehicles. Right now in our fleet, we have, I think it's 2 newer vehicles, the Quint and the engine we purchased about a year ago. All the other vehicles are anywhere from 18 to 20 years old. And so when we do get repairs on those trucks, we have to outsource it. Moody's can't fix it.
So what is Moody's fixing for the fire department?
They, brakes, they can repair brakes, change the oil, change the tires. If it's anything dealing with the engine, transmission, we have to outsource. They send it out to another place.
So we're paying them $14,500 for the brakes, oil changes, and what else did you say?
Tires.
And tires. Yes.
Okay. Does that make sense?
I don't know. I would imagine a fire truck tire costs quite a bit of money.
I would too.
Is it the fire truck tires they're doing?
Yes, well, they are the tires. Tires are about $600 or $700 a piece.
So that's not included in that $14,500.
I don't think so. No, ma'am.
I'm seeing some head shaking. So, okay, so what does the $14,500 get us? Just the labor on?
If I'm not mistaken, it's
Ms. Huggins is going to answer this question. She's tilted her camera. She's unmuted. I think she's going to help us.
Yes, ma'am. Mostly the labor. The tires are in a different budget line, so we'll purchase the tires and they'll do the install. But that's pretty much it. Just as Chief was stating, a lot of the major service work, they don't have the certifications or the equipment or capability to make those repairs.
Right. Right.
I'm going to put it out there. Does this agreement make sense for the fire department?
Well, if we didn't have that, who would do it?
You got routine things that you don't want to have to ship it off for. As I recall, Chief, when you send things off to the specialists, the engine may be gone a week or two.
Yes. We use, because we have Pierce trucks, we use 10-8, who's a subsidiary of Pierce, or we would send it to Freightliner that works on big trucks right there in Forest Park.
Right.
And there are a couple others, I think off Moreland Avenue, if I'm not mistaken.
So if we want to get a truck back in service in a day, let's say, it makes sense for us to buy the tire and Moody's to change the tire, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think it does, Mayor. I think it does make sense that we would have that agreement with Moody's. Somebody has to do the routine work, and you don't want it to be Joe's gas station.
Sure, absolutely.
Same thing with the oil. They could change the oil and get it back in service pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yes, they could do that.
Do we have a sense of how much maintenance we're getting for that? That's probably a square rigger question, right?
Square rigger should tell us all that.
Like how many oil changes, how many tire changes?
Now we have had, Mayor, we have had a problem with
square
Moody's,
rigger
with Moody's updating square rigger. I don't think it's a problem with the software itself. It's a problem with putting the data into the database. And that was supposed to be cleaned up. And
right, we had this conversation last year.
Yes,
you betcha we did. And believe me, we've had it years before last year. So I wish Mr. Moody were on the call and see if that data is being kept up to date. But in any,
I just text him, so give it a second and I'll let you know once I hear back from him.
Oh, great.
All right. While we're waiting on that answer, let's keep on moving.
Well, again, on the vehicle repair costs, you're estimating $72,000.
Yes.
Are there any big items in there that you know that are coming up that we need to have an engine repair or anything?
Not large items, but from time to time, the pumps that pumps the water out of the trucks go out, and we would have to get them repaired. Like I said, we have a number of vehicles that's anywhere from 18 to 20 years old, and I would say the pumps. I don't think we don't have anything with as far as engine repairs. Hadn't said anything yet of that.
And if I can add, a majority of those instances are usually emergency repairs, things that we didn't anticipate. So that's usually how that happens because of the age of the units.
That's a good point.
Well, when we talk about vehicles that are 18 years old, Chief, we bought a new ladder truck, I think, not too long ago.
4
We
years.
got the Quint just recently. What are the vehicles that are older? Which ones are those? I suppose we have a list in here that we could look at, but can you,
Yes.
off the top of your head,
We have a what is it? Reserve engine 1. No, we have a reserve old engine 2 column, and I think old engine. I think the squad, and those vehicles are, like I said, anywhere probably about the newest one. I say the newest of those I just named was probably the reserve engine 1, and that's about 15, 16 years old.
It's digital
How
page
old-
nine,
how old
digital
do we
page
run those?
97.
I'm
has
sorry.
the-
Yes,
Excuse
sir.
me, Mayor.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say that digital page 97 has their vehicle inventory list.
Yes.
Okay, but my question is, these are secondary vehicles. These are reserve vehicles. Presumably, you don't run the reserve vehicles unless the primary vehicle isn't working.
Yes, and there's a number of times because the amount of calls we run, when a frontline vehicle is down or getting repaired, we use reserves, and we use them quite often.
Oh,
Yes, we use them
I
quite
didn't
often.
realize that.
Mhm.
All right. Ms. Fleur Bradley, have you been able to gain any insight?
Not as of yet.
All
As
right.
soon as-
Thank you.
Yeah. As soon as I hear something, I'll let you know.
All right. Thanks. Appreciate that. All right. So any other questions on fire suppression?
Hey, Chief, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
When it's time, like, buy the new vehicles or whatever, do Moody have a hand in or a say in the vehicle that we purchase or whatever?
No, sir. No, sir. We have a few guys here within the department who are mechanics. I don't know, or were mechanics in their past life, and we have a committee that sit down with them, and we sit down with the different manufacturers and spec them out that way. But Moody's does not play a hand in that.
Because I'm wondering, if Moody is the person or the company that's going to fix our vehicles, I'm just me thinking, I think it make more sense for them to kind of know before we just get a brand new vehicle. Once they come out from under warranty, I guess we depends on Moody to fix it, and they not qualified. If they know before, it may be a little bit easier. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. Well, all of our vehicles are the same from the same manufacturer. We use Pierce, and we've been using them before I got here, so they've been using that for a long time. But we could include Moody's, and just to inform them of what we're doing. But they've worked on the vehicles, and like I said, and Moody's they're aware because we've met with Moody's on numerous times over the last 10 years. I know for sure. Just trying to explain to them that the mechanics have to have a emergency vehicle technician, EVT, a specialist, a certification. And at one point, they had about 3 mechanics over there who were EVT techs. Right now, if I'm not mistaken, I think his name Kent is the only emergency vehicle technician over there, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I think we've beaten this one pretty much to death. It's just,
Yep.
I hesitate to ask the question, but again, following up on Councilman Gay's comment, what's the total? If you had everything you'd like on your wish list to add, Chief, how much money are we talking? Because we haven't finished the organization yet.
What we're trying to do is just add back some of the funds that we had to remove out of our budget to, like I said, to make it a lean budget. And I'm just asking for some of the important things that we need.
No, I understand. I don't doubt that that's what you're doing, but I'm just saying, you must have an idea what, if you added all those things back, how much it would be. Are we talking 200,000, 300,000, 400,000?
I'll say from 150 to maybe 200,000.
Because
the positions were already at 150.
Yeah.
The two positions were already at 150. So
right.
And we've
I'm just trying to get an idea how big the iceberg is.
Okay. Well, I know I was going to ask with the 11 vacancies we have, if I'm not mistaken, 4 of those 11 positions are frozen. And I was going to ask you all to unfreeze, if we could unfreeze the 4 positions. And that way we could hire 11 total people. That's
so how much is unfreezing 4 positions worth?
Yeah, may have to answer that. Well, what we're looking at
280,000. I'll take a guess.
Okay. 40,000 apiece.
We've got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 vacant. Is that right? Right now?
No, we have 11 vacancies right now.
Well, I'm sorry.
It's 12.
12 vacancies.
12
How many?
total. 5 are frozen.
Can we fill the 7 first and then revisit that?
Well, that's what we're trying.
There's only 4 frozen for 2022, not
Right.
5. Yeah.
We only get 4. Okay.
Yeah, I sent the update.
Yeah, I show 4.
I'm looking at the 4 right here. Yeah.
You may have 5 this year, but one of those did get funded for 2022.
So it's 4 frozen and should be, was that 7? Well, 7 vacancies we have then.
Right.
Yes. And we
So
are.
how much?
We are in the process.
How much money? 70,000 a piece times 4 is 280.
So it's about, if I'm averaging it out, it's about 293,000. So you're close, Councilman.
Well, that was pretty good.
And that's with the
Benefits and everything.
Benefits.
Yes,
but
yes,
okay.
ma'am.
right.
That's what benefits.
Right.
Just a question now with those vacancies, besides the 4 frozen, the other 7, they are included in the salaries. They are included in the salaries that we submitted.
The vacancies are included in the salary?
Yes. Yes, we did not take that out when we submitted. We submitted with the 11 vacancies we have, yes, 7.
So could we do the reverse? Is that some of the place where we can say all the vacancies aren't going to get filled on? Are they in there for the beginning of the fiscal year or are they staggered?
They're at 100%. All vacancies in the fire department are at 100%.
Save the 4 frozen, right?
Except the vacancies. Okay, there's right now on the schedule I provided you with, because some more, he may have had some more vacancies come up. So right now, the 10 that I showed that are vacant, 4 are frozen, and the other 6 are 100% budgeted.
6.
There's only 4 frozen
from the beginning. So
yes.
So what is the likelihood that those positions will be filled by July 1?
6?
Yes, ma'am.
As a matter of fact, the 6 we're working on now, we just sent letters out to the candidates. I think we have about 15 candidates. So we should be doing a physical assessment sometime in May. After that, it goes to the written exam and then the interview. So we should bring them in before July.
And how long are they good right off, or how long does it take them to?
Well, What we are advertising for experienced firefighters, EMTs, or paramedics. We're not taking just a person without any experience, because it takes over a year to train them. So we're trying to bring some folk in who we could bring right in and orientate them for about 2 weeks and then put them online. So they have to have firefighter and or EMT or paramedic experience.
Do you have any idea what the rate is that, or how many you're losing, you know, from time to time? Are you losing one a quarter or
It's
2 a year, or?
Over the last year, I think we lost about six firefighters.
So when you hire, it's gonna be hard to catch up to that full complement. Because if you're hiring 5 or 6 and you're losing 5 or 6 a year, it's hard to get up to full complement.
Yeah, and Ken, you're underscoring where I'm going, which is it sounds like the money that we are trying to find to cover the other things will come out, unfortunately, will come out of salaries, because we won't have the people, we'll have vacancies that have already been budgeted. And so for every vacancy you get, I don't know, $75,000, let's say, roughly.
I mean, I'm
So
just thinking,
all you need is a couple vacancies, you got 150. I'm
well,
sorry.
if you're losing about 6 a year and you're hiring, you know, 7 or 8 a year, it takes you a while to catch up, you know.
That's my point.
Unless you all of a sudden say, okay, we have 7 vacancies and we're going to lose 6, let's hire up to 10 so that we catch up, because you'll never get up to that number.
Yes.
But that presumes that you're going to be able to get 10 to sign up, you know.
Right. I mean,
yeah.
and you just hiring 6 and losing, you know, hiring 7 or 8 and losing 6 a year, what's that going to take you, 3 or 4 years just to catch up, if it stays the same?
Chief, of those 15 that you are corresponding with, what would be your expected yield from that 15? How many actually put on the uniform and become a member of the College Park Fire Department in your past experience?
Out of the 15, you know, once you do the background check, a lot of people may have some things in their background, but I would say out of the 15, about 8, maybe 7. Yes.
That's pretty good yield.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
A lot better than I was ever able to do for engineers, anyhow.
Well, engineers are a different breed anyway.
You better believe it.
Whoa.
All right. So,
you know, I think, you know, I hate this, by not filling the positions and never catching up on 3 or 4 positions, that's going to be your money.
That's my point. Yeah,
that's going to be your money to take care of everything else.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
what I think.
Looking at money wise.
Yep.
I mean, if you were fully staffed and stayed fully staffed, you know, then you would have a problem with some of these numbers. But if they're basing the numbers here on the sheet on full capacity, you know, it's, I don't think you'll ever get there. I think you'll be $40,000 or $80,000 short all the time.
You know, I just look at it. A lot of our younger firefighters, of course, you know, they're leaving for other opportunities that's paying more. Now we do have a number of seasoned firefighters. When I say seasoned, experience, you know, 15 years or more, they're going to hold on because this is their career. The younger firefighters, they're looking at the pay, what other departments, other professions are paying. So that's why they're, I hate to say jumping ship, but that's why a lot of them are leaving.
Well, I think that's a different issue than the one we're addressing here. I mean, because we're talking either about the rate of pay or the number of positions. And I think that the suppression raise is included in these numbers, right? There are raises included for the.
I think so. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
In regards to the proposed freeze of 4 positions, what is the body? What is the will of the body on that one? What is the consensus?
I have no problems with trying to fill them because I think it's going to take you 3 or 4 years to get them filled. I mean, if you're losing the numbers, you're losing. And you know.
Yeah, I think that's the same place I was going, Ken. That I think they're covered. I think we're not going to be able to get those.
So keep them frozen? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying we could unfreeze them. I don't think you're going to be able to hire them.
I'm in favor of unfreezing them because I don't think you'll get there. I think you'll have people leaving, and I think that'll be maybe we look at it again next year on next year's budget, because I don't think you're going to get there this year. But I think if you could have a shot at it, that might help.
I agree that can be unfroze.
Councilman Taylor?
Now to unfreeze them is not to fund them though. Is that what I'm hearing? We're unfreezing them, but not funding them. Because if we don't think we're going to fill them, so I'm just trying, because that's going to be 293,000 I would have to add back to the budget.
Well, if we unfroze them and then did not fund them until they went on the payroll.
But we would come before the council to fund them then. Whenever he gets to that level, say for instance, he fills all the vacancies that are funded and he gets to the first unfrozen, unfunded position, then we'll come back before council.
I think that's a good idea.
Does that work for everybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Anything else in fire suppression?
That's it.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Well,
Mayor, your question to
yes,
the work
in
order
regard
detail by
yes.
equipment.
Yes.
It seems like they are uploading the info every time they work on this is a fire report. And these are some of the charges throughout the fiscal year, the detail to some. There was this replace shock. There was a spark plug boot, an adjustment of brakes, and it goes on.
So, Ms. Flora Bradley, when we're looking at this and we're seeing the total cost here, that we're looking at the labor costs for Moody's, or what is this cost that we're looking at? Is that's
the cost, the labor cost. And that would be based on this would be outside of the maintenance contract because we would get billed.
So we're getting billed for that. So what's in the maintenance contract?
I would have to ask Mr. Moody to log in. He's listening on the call.
It looks like there's no other charges other than labor.
But if we're paying for labor and then
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So why don't we just get them at another time? Just because it may be a citywide thing. It might not just be the fire department. It might be better.
It is the city. It is citywide. You're correct.
Yeah, it may be better just to have them at one time, like executive session or work session or whatever. Just get to the bottom of it. You know what I mean?
Ms. Miller, I know that you were. I don't mean to steal your thunder here. I know that you were going to make a proposal that we reconvene for some additional budget discussions, despite our thoughts that this might be the last session. We're having such a good time together that we might need a little bit more time together. Perhaps we can examine this issue in depth and figure out a little bit more about what goes into the contractual costs and what we're paying for. Does that make sense? Is that okay with everybody?
I have it.
Yeah. And I know also the allocation includes the, we basically pay the employee costs, Moody's employee costs as well. So it's a number of things. We pay for their operational costs altogether. I know the contract did include that. That's what I did recall. We pay for that overall operational cost of this being in that location to service us outside of the maintenance they provide to the city.
All right. Well, let's drill down into that a little bit more when we get a better picture of it, and we can move on to EMS at this
Okay.
point. Thank you, Ms. Fleur Bradley.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you pulling that report for us. All right. So EMS starts on digital page 112. Questions for the chief?
I find it hard on page, I'm on 113.
Okay.
Computer supplies have been set to 0, and they were 333.30 this past year. I mean, this
and
current
set at
year.
0. They were amended to
That's-
0 and we were over. Yeah.
Yeah. So that seems unlikely. That's just an observation. Maybe you can do it. All depends what are.
Let's see. I'm trying to.
That's 537122.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I don't see any breakdown on that one for some reason.
Because there's no numbers in there, yeah.
So that's why I said it was unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
If you told me it was a new computer, I'd say, oh yeah, okay, well, you put off a computer for a year. But don't see how you can do that.
Oh, I know in EMS, we only have one person in there. That's Chief Taylor. I don't see any.
Previously, we would use that line for the maintenance contract for the defibrillators, but they're all new. So they're still under warranty and trying to be compliant for the request to make some cuts for budget conservancy. We took that out.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
I do have one on the uniforms for EMS, 5180. I would just ask if we could just reinstall the $700. That's for his uniforms. That's it.
What's the body? What's the consensus of the body?
500.
If you only got one person there.
Yes.
Body okay with 500?
500 is fine.
Councilman Taylor, where'd you go?
I'm okay with that.
Councilman Taylor, what are your thoughts? Okay, 3 of you are okay with it. Can't hear Councilman Taylor. Not sure what's going on there, but all right. Any other questions on EMS? Hearing none, we'll move forward to the SPLOST budget. Chief, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
Have a good evening.
Have a great night.
You too.
Good evening.
Good night.
Good night.
All right. So SPLOST fund starts on page 132. Who's leading this discussion? If any, well, let me ask, does anybody have any questions on SPLOST? That's probably a better question because I don't know that there's really, it is what it is.
Yeah,
ahead.
there's just a contingency there just in case Jackson brings before the commission, I mean, not the commission, the council projects. I don't have to go back and basically amend the budget. There's contingency there because we are collecting the funds.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any questions on SPLOST.
Yeah, okay.
Nothing at all.
All right. GICC special district tax. That
Same
starts
kind of
on,
thing.
yep, digital page 135. Any questions there?
Nope.
Nope, not at all.
All right. Convention Center. Probably some questions here. Ms. Cole is here.
Well, actually, I've got a question I think I know the answer to. And I wouldn't say don't jump to 144. It's on digital 144. It's bond principal. And I assume that the reason bond principal isn't showing there is because this is part of the principal that we're deferring or hoping to defer. Is that correct?
That was my assumption.
Sorry, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Correct.
Any other questions?
No.
Not at all.
Okay. But Ms. Cole is here, ready for all your questions.
She did a good job.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Next up is T-SPLOST. I'm sorry. Nope. Excuse me. Sorry. Gateway Center Arena.
Gateway.
That starts on page 172.
I just had a question on the gateway when you're talking about the expenses for salary. Were you considering a full staff or how were you considering that?
That is not a full staff. The employees that are furloughed, we are budgeting and anticipating them coming back in January. So that is not a full staff.
Okay. I just didn't know how you were looking at that number. All right.
Okay. Any other questions?
Nope.
All right. Now we're moving on to T-SPLOST. Thank you, Ms. Cole. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions regarding T-SPLOST?
Nope.
Okay. TAD.
And that,
I'm sorry, Ms. Fuller Bradley.
and this is the same here. However,
The same as
the T-SPLOST budget.
Okay.
Pretty much.
All right.
Yeah, the question I had is on digital 203, line 526590. I see we've got contingency in here, a pretty good size contingency. What is that? What is the significance of that?
You said digital 203?
That's the last page. That's
Yeah.
multi-departmental cost.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I jumped too far. Sorry.
Oh, you're talking digital 199, line 526590?
No. She's right. I was in the wrong group. I'm ahead of my time.
That's an engineer for you.
We try.
So was it digital page 199? That's in the TAD with contingencies.
Yeah, I was on the wrong. If I'm on 203, which is the allocation district for TAD 203. There's a contingency line of 526590.
340,000. Yeah.
526590. Right. Yeah, that's on digital page 199.
Yeah. That is on me, it's digital 203. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why I have more pages than you do, but
I don't know either.
That's the, go ahead. That's the same deal as the SPLOST fund. Right now, I already doesn't have, well, at the time that this budget was presented, I already didn't have anything outlined that was provided. So we placed what we believe would be the revenue and contingencies. And whenever he's prepared to bring forward a project, we'll bring it before the council, and not having to amend the budget, we can just move the funds around.
Okay, but having said that, is this revenue reflective of what we really have access to in the TAD now?
This is new revenue coming in. This will be new revenue coming in.
And it takes account of the fact, it takes account of the Fulton County School adjustment that we had to make.
Yes.
Okay.
It will. It will. We will make sure it does happen.
Well, here's my
because
question.
he won't spend 800.
When you make that adjustment,
yes, sir.
After you have done all the adjustments that you have to do, will there still be $340,000 in that contingency?
Yeah. Yes, because right now there's 848,000, I believe, in cash. So that's not reflected here. And Artie isn't going to spend 848,000 in the next quarter. So I'm pretty comfortable with the 340 because I will have the 50% that we collect this year to provide, and it's about $56,000. If we get about $112,000 from the school board this year, we'll get back 50%, but that'll be more so cash and not hit, and not hit our revenues.
Good. I just want to make sure we weren't counting ourselves rich.
No.
All right. Any other questions in the tab?
Nope.
Nope.
All right. Multi-department costs. Any questions
that's just
there?
a true up of everything.
Yep.
We're done.
No, I don't think we are. We have a golf course.
Well, we
right?
still have the golf course.
Right.
Exactly.
We're done with this packet. This
Yes,
particular packet.
we are. All right, let me close those windows. All right. So we've got the golf course. Questions here?
I see we've cut back a number of things. I'm looking under revenue. We've part of the adjustments. Maybe you want to walk through what you've done, but because we just got this at 4:30 today or so. But you've cut back on a number of things in here, as I think. Is that correct?
Mr. Coffey?
Yes. Based on your question from the last attempt at this, Mercedes and I met and agreed that the construction of the new greens, the temp greens, would definitely impact play, i.e. green fees and cart fees. So we decided to take those down roughly 30%. I do think that the sales of bucket sales, that's the driving range, would go up because folks are going to want to utilize that facility for, practice and playing elsewhere. The only other thing, the concessions and liquor sales remain the same, but I anticipate a little bit of an uptick based on the new food and beverage program we're rolling out over there.
And when do you anticipate that'll happen? The new program?
The grill is going to be lit on Saturday.
All right.
And the operations transfer in went up. Of course.
Yeah, well, that was to offset.
Yeah, that's just to offset everything else, yeah.
This actually, this 2022 council approved is throwing me off a little bit.
That's just the way I think they have to run the reports, I think, at this stage. We've seen that before, Mayor. if we have changes that come in later, when they make the runs again, the columns shift and it becomes mayor and council approved. It really is recommended and then city manager
Amended.
approved. Yeah, it's just a fluke in the system, I think.
Oh, the system. All right. Other questions for Mr. Causey?
I noticed in under grounds, you went from 120 to requested, went down to 70. What did you cut out to kind of make that go down to 70? Do you recall?
I think that is, we're dealing with Russell.
Repair and maintenance, yeah.
You're talking about 52, 57, 80?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I think we're just, we're in the midst of negotiating with Russell Landscaping to see what they're going to be doing for us.
Okay.
And I think originally that was, I don't have it in front of me. Oh, here it is. Hang on one second. The last one I had was at 70 as well. So I don't think that's changed much. The city manager recommendation went down from 120 to 70.
Yeah, that's, it says here chemicals, so okay.
Yeah, so that's basically greens and fairway chemical applications that are scheduled throughout the year. That price is pretty fixed. I mean, you might get some fluctuation in chemical expenses, but that's a pretty solid number.
Okay.
All right, any other questions?
Nope.
No, not at all.
All right. So, okay then. Are we done? Anything else?
Unless we want to go through the detail, but I think we've effectively done that. I mean, they're getting a new mower.
Mayor,
Right.
we do have Chief Coos on the line. He's on the call as well. If you want to ask questions from last night, and after he finishes, if anyone has any questions, then I do have a request.
Does anybody have any additional questions for Chief Kuznacki?
No.
I have one, but I'm not sure whether we shouldn't have Mr. Hicks on. There's been some talk about possibly a different storage location for the body camera and some of the surveillance footage and so forth. Do you know if that has legs, Chief, or are we going to be okay with where we are? You're muted, Chief. Well, you're not muted, but we can't hear you.
About now?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay, sorry. I'm new to the Zoom stuff, so we're looking at one, but I think the price is going to be ridiculous. Whittle brought a quote to try to combine everything together, and it was close to like 840,000, I believe.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is then, this is just side for you. We need to make sure that they have the sufficient certification where they are now. And you can talk to Mr. Hicks about that.
Okay. And just one thing on that budget on the contractual services, there's just they just exchanged one company with the other. Now Atlanta Data has taken over the body cam storage.
Right. It's still the same, basically the same group.
Yeah, and there was like a $42,000 difference between this year, an increase, and that's from Fulton. Part of it's from Fulton County Radio System, and the other is from Record Management System.
Right. That's that Fulton County was a fiber line.
Yeah, this is. Yeah, this was. I'm sorry. Now, this was, the major increase was from our Fulton County radio subscription. And it was almost up $27,000. So I'm going to look into that. But that's a pretty significant.
Yeah, we
increase.
went with them because of other increase, and I hope what we're not seeing is that now that we've gone with Fulton County, and now that they've got us sort of captured at this point, that they're not going to hike the price on us.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll stay on that, but the number, for that line is good, a good number.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions for the chief? All right. Well, thank you, Chief. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Have a great evening.
Thanks.
Ms. Miller?
I would like to consider holding a finalized budget meeting on May 6th, 2021 at 6:30 to discuss the proposal for a mid-year salary adjustment. But I'd like to bring back some more solid numbers once we realize the savings from our insurance from the HR department. If everyone is okay with that.
I understood the first part. When you said insurance, are you talking about health insurance?
We're trying to realize the savings that we have from health insurance so that when we come back, we'll have some more solid numbers.
So you think you'll have that by the 6th, the savings?
Yes, sir.
May 6 is good for me.
Yeah, I've got, I think I can, at 6:30, right?
Yes, sir.
I think I can make it on May 6th. I have a Georgia Tech review that I want to sit in on, or they've asked me to sit in on. And it flows into the 6th, but I don't think any of them are in the meetings. I don't have that on my calendar right now. I haven't picked specific things I'm reviewing. So I say the 6th is probably okay. I might have to duck out, but I don't think so.
Okay, we're not going to take much of your time. Thank you.
Does that work for everybody?
I'm good for the 6th.
Councilman Gay?
I think I'm good. I may have a graduation to go to, but I think I'm okay for now. I'm trying to see if I can graduation.
All right. Well, if there are any conflicts, let's just go ahead and let Ms. Miller know that. We can let her know tomorrow morning if anybody has any issues with it. So we'll tentatively set it for May 6th at 6:30. And if there's an issue with that, let her know in the morning and we can go from there. Sound good, everybody?
Yep. Good.
Thank you all. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. This was our longest session yet, but we still came in underneath the 2-hour allotted time. So I appreciate everybody's cooperation and
just an FYI, Mayor, sorry.
No. It's 8:23. So we're going to come in under this. So you got 7 minutes or less.
Okay. I just want everybody to know that I sent them the Moody contract.
Yes. Received that.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's see. We still have 6 minutes to spare. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening. We are adjourned at 8:24.
Good job, Mercedes.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.